Hi, today I'll be discussing the Russian Revolution of 1917. The first nail in the Tsardom's coffin was too much ambition. Russia was a tsardom and an autocracy, which meant it was controlled by one man or woman. Russia was a backwards nation compared to other 19th century countries. The Tsars would try to shake this image for a while. From Peter the Great's ideas of making Russia a Western nation through warfare, and Catherine the Great's ideas of becoming one through reform, Russia's Tsars were never focused on creating a strong, central Russian nation. I'm not saying that they completely were not focused on creating a strong Russian nation. After Catherine's reforms, she did try, but it wasn't enough. The second nail in the Russian coffin was military incompetence. After years of relying on old military tactics, the Russian army was crushed in the Russo-Japanese War. I could make a whole video on the Russo-Japanese War, but for now, I'll summarize it. The Russo-Japanese War was a crushing defeat for the Russians, and a great victory for the Japanese. As I said, the defeat was mainly because of Russia's really incompetent generals and outdated army. This was shown in the Battle of Port Arthur, when the Japanese attacked and the Russians stayed in port even though they were being attacked. When the greater Russian Navy started coming towards Port Arthur because of the attack, they had to go all the way around Africa because they were blocked from the Suez Canal by the British because they fired upon British ships in the Baltic Sea when they thought it was Japanese spies. This is obviously ridiculous because this is the Baltic Sea, and this is the sea that they were fighting in. After this crushing defeat, the Russians started becoming very discontent with their current system. This is just one example of military incompetence in Russia at the time. When World War I kicked off, the Russian front soon collapsed and the Austrians and Germans soon advanced into Russia. These advances caused mass unrest and it seemed like no one wanted the Tsar anymore. It didn't help that the Germans sent Lenin from his exile in Switzerland to St. Petersburg to incite rebellion. Tired of not eating, the populace in St. Petersburg started rioting on February 24th. When Tsar Nicholas sent in the army joined the revolt. When the army joined the revolt, Tsar Nicholas was forced to abdicate. His brother, Grand Duke Michael, refused the throne after he was supposed to inherit it. This destroyed 300 years of Romanov dynasty rule. Since they had no leader, the Duma appointed a provisional government. The provisional government faced the main issue that its rival, the Petrograd Soviet, had 2,500 delegates. The provisional government lost even more support when it issued that it wanted to keep itself in World War I against the orders of the hungry populace. The Petrograd Soviet soon showed that it had more power than the provisional government when they made Order Number 1, which made that the military only obey the command of the Petrograd Soviet and not the provisional government. The only thing stopping the Petrograd Soviet from declaring itself the real government was the fear of a conservative coup. By autumn, the Petrograd Soviets and the Moscow Soviets had made a program of peace, land, and bread, which had won the support of the hungry populace. The provisional government's days were now numbered. The Petrograd Soviets and the Moscow Soviets now made a nearly bloodless coup when they occupied government buildings and strategic points. The Petrograd Soviet and the Moscow Soviets comprised a new government which overthrew the provisional government. The leader of this country, Lenin, officially established the Union of Socialist Soviet Republics. Surely this nation was to live for hundreds of years and be the symbol of freedom. Thanks for watching. Please like and leave a comment below.